All right. We are live here on Twitch and YouTube. Will Brinson along with Frank Stampfl. Frank, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
Yo, what's up, man? Long time no see.
It has been a while. Shout out Robert Thomas in there early. Appreciate all y'all who hit that subscribe button. If you do it, you'll get alerts that we're going live on Twitch or on YouTube. And so this is going to be the back half of the Best Bets podcast. And I figured it was easier than rather than going live right away, we'll just sort of chat and then we'll pause. We'll chat for a second, then we'll pause and go live and then we'll talk some DFS. Also, I was going to try and log into my DraftKings account and bring up the actual contest. Have you entered your contest yet, Frank?
No, I haven't yet. How about you?
No, I haven't entered any. I did some golf stuff. I was going to try and build up my bankroll with some NBA on Friday and Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and see how that goes. If I was smart, I'd just play some NBA cash games and try and build it up and then go big after the Super Bowl. Instead, I'm trying to hit a grand, a salami in NBA and win the $4 tournament, which is probably dumb.
Yeah, you know how that's going to go, Will. Come on now.
Yeah. I'm trying to make money on cryptocurrency and DFS tournaments.
Dude, I'm in the same exact boat, man. Between NBA Top Shot and this whole.
Are you an EK big on Top Shot? Is that who it is?
Yeah. So it's 2 weeks ago now today, actually. It was 2 Thursdays ago where I just went deep down a rabbit hole and I was up to 4 or 5 a.m. legitimately just researching nonstop this Top Shot thing. And it's really blown up the past couple of weeks. The market's kind of taking a hit right now because I think that's just natural. Obviously everyone was excited about it, but yeah, man, Top Shot is interesting.
How I don't want to ask you how much money you have in Top Shot, but I'm sure I could probably look it up because it's all, I'm sure it's probably Roto Frank is your name, right?
It's F Stampfl. I think you could probably look up my collection. I could tweet it out if you want to, but
no, you don't need it. Are there 2 numbers in front of a comma? There's got to be at least one.
Well, what my collection is worth, there's only 1 comma. What I've actually invested is there's no commas.
Oh, okay. All right. So you've invested less than $1,000.
Yes, that's
okay. Okay. That's that's fine. That's good. I think that there's nothing wrong with that. You're not 10,000. Some of these dudes, I saw Peter Jennings tweet out that he's worth his collection is worth $750,000 or something crazy like that.
Yeah. So it's crazy, man. There are sales. They recently upped the limit that you can buy a Top Shot moment for up to $250,000. So people are going crazy right now with it. And I think it's a lot of people who had money in crypto beforehand. So it's very easily you can use crypto. You can use Bitcoin to buy things on there, for your Dapper balance. So I missed that entire boat. Bitcoin, I missed all of it. Ethereum, I guess it's still kind of climbing and stuff, but I missed all of it. And now I've got something called a dog coin or a Doge coin, whatever it's called. So
what do you think about the dog coins?
I don't know anything about it. I just have people texting me yo, buy it. I'm like, okay, I don't know anything, man. So I'm making all of these unwise decisions, Will, where I'm buying dog coins and crypto and Top Shot, and that's where we are in 2021. So
I missed the dog coin. I couldn't figure out. I was at my parents' house at the beach, and they rented a beach house, and I was down there with them. I'd had a few drinks, a few cocktails, and people were telling me buy the dog coin, but I was I can't figure out how to buy the dog coin. I have Bitcoin, but I don't know how to. I have a third of a Bitcoin or something like that.
Hey, that's more than me.
And but I do have some. I have some loop ring that I bought, and some ZRX, which is actually having a really nice day.
ZRX.
ZRX is up 53%.
That sounds like some kind of pharmaceutical drug.
It's just a crypto. Did you? But to me, and we'll get to the DFS in a minute. But to me, it's plus this. If anybody has questions about gambling, props, DFS, anything that you want to ask us in the chat, feel free to. We're live. Well, if I don't, Frank, are you in a hurry? I don't think I have anything else.
Nah, man, I'm around.
Okay. Debo is the best because he sends me a schedule every day that says, here's what you have to do, and here's when you have to do it with Zoom links. It's truly remarkable.
That's great, man. I'm my own producer for the fantasy baseball podcast, and I don't do any of that stuff. My stuff is all over the place.
Yeah, you've you do the Pick Six podcast once a week, you're fully aware of how much how much prep I bring to the table. It'd be a disaster without Debo. But we've been doing these social media thing anyway. So the crypto thing, so I missed the dog coin, but then I saw today Elon Musk tweeted about dog coin and it shot up like 44% or something like that.
Yeah. And silly old me, I just bought it on the decline, so good times.
So how many dog coins do you have? Like 1,000? I
think 4,000.
Yeah, because they're like 5. Yeah, so that's like $200 worth or something like that.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Right. I don't know what I was.
Again, Will, if you have any information on any of this crypto stuff, like send it my way, because I'm kind of just like learning on the fly, and I honestly would tell people like don't do it this way. Like you should probably research and and figure things out before you invest. But I just have people texting me, and I'm like, all right, whatever, I'll give it a shot. I got some money. I'm not married. I don't have kids. Like I got some money laying around. Like why not? I'll take a shot.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm married and have a kid. I'm still gonna take a shot. Like by the way, I bought some AMC. Didn't work out so well. Not working out so hot for me. Damn. I think I bought AMC and BlackBerry at their peak. Did you follow the Wall Street bets thing at all? I mean, I'm sure you did, right?
Yeah. So I got a buddy of mine who kind of like tried to explain it to me in layman's terms, like this whole GameStop thing that went down. And I think I kind of got a good grasp of everything that happened. But it seems like, I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but it seems like there were people wrong on both sides. Like, I don't know if that's
trouble on this podcast or say anything about dog coin or anything really.
This whole GameStop situation, it was just weird though, right? So it was like a bunch of hedge funds are like shorting the stock, and then a bunch of like people revolted on Reddit, and it basically went the other way. So I don't know. It's a bunch.
So I mean, what happened is that Sam is asking NFL question mark. Yes, we were about to talk NFL. We're letting the stream populate, and then we'll reset and do the DFS talk. We just recorded the Best Bets Props podcast with Pete, Kinney, and RJ. This will be the second half of it. So yes, we're not going to spend this entire time talking about dog coins and Elon Musk and Top Shot, but Frank and I are just just chatting it up. No worries.
We're catching up, man. We haven't talked in a while.
It has been a couple of weeks. So what was I going to say? I had
GameStop.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, the hedge funds believe that GameStop is going to crash because there's a brick and mortar, video game business, right? That hadn't focused at all on e-commerce and all that stuff. Anyway, so they short it. And if you short something, the idea, you make money if the stock crashes.
Yep.
You borrow a stock from somebody and then immediately sell it at its price. And then when the price goes down, you buy it at the lower price and then return it, and then you clear the margin there, the profit there. But if a stock is shorted like 120% of its full shares, which by the way shouldn't even be legal. Like you shouldn't be able to be short more than 120% of the shares that you have available. That's insane, right? I mean, that's how screwed up the stock market is. If that happens and everybody starts buying the stock, what it does is it triggers these hedge funds then come in and try and close their position because they don't want to get burned too badly, which shoots it up even higher. And so these guys are losing money because they get margin calls where the banker, whoever's the stock, the trading house calls me, is like, yo, like you owe us, $4 billion because GameStop just shot up to $150 and it's trading there. And so like it was a really great economic theory and it's not wrong. But the problem is when Robinhood and these day traders shut it off, the lack of volume that the Wall Street bets guys could get into GameStop and all those other places forced it to come back down. You would assume that the hedge funds were smart enough to, neutralize their position to a small degree once it slowed down. And certainly even now it's down to like $60. So I would guess that they are at least out of their position. It could end up crashing out of 20. Who the hell knows? But I find it a fascinating story. There's a good podcast with some guys. I think it's called like the All In Pod or something like that. That's worth listening to, where they sort of break it down and argue about it. Anyway, let's talk some DFS. So Top Shot, GameStop. It's been a very like meme filled financial run, really. Like Bitcoin. I was going to say, so you haven't entered that's how we got here, Frank. We haven't entered the contest yet. That's what we were talking about. We're trying to scare up a bunch of Super Bowl DFS money by chasing Bitcoins and by chasing cryptocurrencies and Top Shot. So let's enter a contest, shall we?
Let's do it.
I'm trying to find a single. Okay, here we go. This one will work. NFL Showdown, 250K red zone, 50K to first, single entry, $50 to enter. And we'll create a lineup. And let's see. I got enough balance to cover the $50, so not humiliated here. I guess I could theoretically plug it in anyway. I'm going to share my screen. First of all, it's the Super Bowl, so there's only showdown stuff that we can do here, right? That's all we can do from a showdown perspective, right? I mean, there's nothing I'm missing, is there?
Unless I'm missing it as well. Yeah, I believe it's only showdown.
Okay, so we're gonna do showdown. We're gonna build a lineup, and look, it starts, of course, Patrick Mahomes, $18,000. I will let you, Frank, try and explain to me why Patrick Mahomes shouldn't be in your lineup.
I don't have any logical reason why he shouldn't, unless you think he's going to get hurt or something. You're trying to, like, the only way you don't have Patrick Mahomes in your lineup is if you're really just going out there for some kind of random game flow that you're expecting, because when you're playing showdown, like, everything should correlate, right? Or at least most things in your lineup should correlate. And
well, you should play the game out in your head and then use that game script to decide how you want to build your showdown lineup, right?
Yes. And if you don't have Patrick Mahomes in your lineup here, that means you have played out some kind of game flow where Patrick Mahomes doesn't put up Patrick Mahomes like numbers. And it's just, given the state of their offensive line, going up against a defense that is great at stopping the run, I think all of those things together, the fact that they've just been passing as aggressively as they have all season long, not just in the postseason, like the second half of the year, they barely ran the ball. I just don't see a scenario in my head where Patrick Mahomes is not throwing the ball 35 plus times in this game.
His over-under is 40.5, and it's juiced the over.
Exactly.
I mean, I think given how good Tampa Bay is against the run, I don't think there's a way. I don't think there is a path to winning. I mean, okay, I take it back. There's definitely a path to have a winning lineup without Patrick Mahomes, but I think the percentage of that occurring in this Super Bowl, given what the Bucs are good at, given how aggressive they are in terms of blitzing, given how good Patrick Mahomes is, given how many different weapons he has, that you almost have to play Patrick Mahomes in showdown. And so maybe the better question is there a scenario where you will play him not as your captain?
Yeah, I think that you should look, if you're playing a single entry, like, yeah, you got some decisions to make, but I think especially with the showdown, like, you want multiple lineups, right? Like, so you have to play out a few different game flows in your head, because you don't want to just be stuck into one thing where, like, all right, the Chiefs are winning the entire game, the Bucs are playing from behind. That's the only game flow I think that's going to happen, because that's not really the case. Like, there's a couple of different game flows that can happen. So I think you play out a few of those situations in your head and you create multiple lineups. But specifically for this in a single entry, it's tough to have Mahomes as your captain. And I still think he's definitely going to be the most captain player. Like, everything I've seen is probably like 20 to 25% captain for this slate. But there is a chance where, he goes for 302, but, Kelsey has like 10 receptions for 151. And if he's in your captain spot with those numbers, given the full PPR on DraftKings, Travis Kelsey would actually be more valuable in that spot versus someone like Mahomes, and you're getting Kelsey at a cheaper cost than Patrick Mahomes is.
Yes. I think that there is definitely a path where Travis Kelsey is your captain and Patrick Mahomes is a regular flex outscores Patrick Mahomes is your captain and Travis Kelsey is a flex. Now, the one concern you would have, obviously, if you go with Mahomes if you go with Kelsey instead of Mahomes, you're saving $1,500. That is a lot in a showdown, especially in a game where I don't know that you're going to mess around with the lower, like, it feels like the concentration of scoring, we look at these guys who are up top, right? I mean, it feels like the concentration of scoring is going to be so high with these top guys that it's hard to really get away from them.
Yeah, I mean, especially for the Chiefs, Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelsey have accounted for 63% of the target share in the postseason. So, like, That's 63% of the targets from Patrick Mahomes, who's the best quarterback in the world right now, maybe the best quarterback ever. So like that concentration of targets in a game with this type of total, like, yeah, you want at least one of Kelsey or Tyreek Hill with Patrick Mahomes. But Will, I mean, as you know, we're going to go through here building out the lineup. It's tough, man. It is really tough to get all three of those in, because then you're really just, you're going to have to like scrape the bottom of the barrel.
You have 10,600 remaining for 3 spots.
Exactly.
And you have to get, I mean, look, here's the reality. If this game is going to be high scoring and the total's 56, so we're expecting that, you know, even if it ends up going way under, you know, you still are going to have some, like, you're going to have some Buccaneers. You know, I don't see a path where either of these teams scores less than 21 points. Well, maybe, I guess maybe the Bucks could score less, but I mean, I think even if they're down 31-10, you know, down 3 scores, that would be the concerning thing. You're getting 31 points out of the Chiefs, but then the Buccaneers are going to be throwing it way more aggressively in the second half. So yeah, you're basically boxed out of any Tom Brady, Mike Evans combo if you go with those top 3 guys. Do you think there's a pathway for the Buccaneers to limit either Travis Kelce or Tyreek Hill?
I think I do. Well, that would require, you know, like double or triple teaming one of those players. And if you ask me, and I said this, I did the FFT in 5. We did some props earlier in the week. Given that Tyreek Hill absolutely destroyed this defense when they played back in week 12, I lean towards the Bucs defense is going to send more defensive attention Tyreek Hill's way. And if that's the case, then we probably see more work for Travis Kelce. Like, no matter who you try and take away, one of those other guys is going to go off. Is there a chance both of them go off? Absolutely. But it's really hard to get all 3 in your lineup with Brady, because honestly, the most realistic game flow here is that we see points on both sides. That's what the spread says. That's what the total says. We got, you know, a 56-point total and a 3-point spread. That means Vegas is expecting this game to be higher scoring and a pretty close game. And if that happens, then we're getting scoring on both sides with both the Chiefs and the Bucs. So you want to find ways to get as many of the players on both sides as you possibly can.
All right. So I'm just sort of, you know, and playing around with it. You go Tyreek, Mahomes, and Brady. And so then you've got some access to the Buccaneers there, and you have 12,400 remaining. So, you know, in theory, you could go Travis Kelce, and then you would have to jam in. I mean, you'd really be taking some shots down here at guys like, you know, Darwin Thompson, which is not appealing. Anthony Sherman is kind of interesting. RJ, he's 100-1 to score the last touchdown. Whoa. Ronald Jones is 2,200. But see, even Byron Pringle, like,
right.
You go with Travis Kelce, you're like, all right, I'll just find 2 really cheap guys. I mean, you're not. like exactly. Byron Pringle's 1,800. You know, Scotty Miller is 3,400. This is actually really good pricing, a really good job with the pricing by the guys at DraftKings, I think.
Yeah, and it's, you know, you can't even look at kickers, you can't even look at defenses. Even you're priced out of even those guys. So I mean, you can make it work. You can basically just get like a couple whatever $100 players and just punt those positions and hope that all 4 of these guys in Hill, Mahomes, Brady, and Kelce go off. But I think more likely, you know, you brought up Ronald Jones, who it's really tough to see how he hits big here, because I think the game flow has to be like the Bucs are just playing keep away from the Chiefs and they're able to run effectively, but like he hasn't been healthy and he's played under 30% of the snaps in each of the first 2 playoff games that he played. So I think more than anything, like Leonard Fournette is being used in the pass game, but it's harder to fit him in with where his salary is at. They're at what is that, 7,800?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. Like you have playoff Lenny at 7,800, Mike Evans 84, Chris Godwin is 88. So let's say I don't really want anything to do with playoff Lenny, to be honest.
Okay,
I'm kind of out of the running backs here because I'm worried that even if the Bucs get down, I mean, I guess Lenny could catch a bunch of balls, but I'd much rather target the pass guys. And Mike Evans is such a red zone hog, and I think he has a distinct advantage against the Chiefs wide receivers that I like Mike Evans on some deep balls. He caught 2 garbage, you know, not really garbage time because they cut it to 3 with less than 5 minutes, but two fourth quarter touchdown passes against the Chiefs in the regular season. And I think he'll probably fly a little bit under the radar with people either paying for Chris Godwin or, you know, like if Antonio Brown is out, Chris Godwin's going to be turbo chalky.
Yeah. And I think either way, Godwin's roster rate is going to be higher than Mike Evans in this spot. I think that's just, no matter what happens, it's like, if Godwin's hurt, he's playing with a broken finger, he's coming off a game where he lets people down. It doesn't matter. Like, people still just go back to the well with Chris Godwin. And I get it. Like, he's a really talented player and it makes sense. Tom Brady likes to target more of like these short intermediate routes. And that's typically where Chris Godwin lives. But the tight ends are really popping up here for the Tampa Bay side, Will, because Cameron Brate has seen an uptick in volume recently. And now we're seeing Gronk only has 7% of the targets in the postseason, right? But with that, he leads Tampa with 4 red zone targets. So like when he's targeted in the red zone. He has 3 touchdowns and 4 Super Bowl appearances. This just seems like a game, like national stage. Obviously, it's the Super Bowl. I feel like everyone's going to go towards Brate, and Gronk is kind of sneaky in this spot. Will, if I asked you what the routes run in the postseason were for Gronk versus Brate, what would you say it is?
Can I like do a percentage split, maybe? Like, I would say like, I think because you're asking me that it's probably a trick question, but if I were guessing, I would say it's like Brate 60, Gronk 40. Like if you took all the routes run, you know what I'm saying? Like, so what give me the numbers. That was a bad answer.
It's Gronk 54% of the routes, and it's Cameron Brate 46%. So Gronk he's ran 60 routes versus Brate, who's ran 51.
60 routes versus 51?
Yeah.
Gronk has run more.
Gronk has run more routes. Cameron Brate is being targeted more. But when they get in the red zone, it is Gronk. So
I think you are correct in that everyone will be on Brate.
Yeah.
He is going back to the pricing. He's 4,800 and Gronk is 3,000. And it does just feel like Brate has been the guy for Tom Brady in the playoffs. So I think that will be a storyline that absolutely exists. What I'm seeing is Gronk, about 10% owned and Brate about 13% owned. So if Gronk outscores Brate substantially, like 5 points plus, like that's a pretty big flip, right? Like if you go with Gronk instead of Brate, and as you can see here too, like with the roster construction we could actually go Gronk and still have $1,000 left. I'm not saying I'm not locking this in or anything, but just point it out. Yeah, and I think the other thing too, I wouldn't sleep on with Gronk, Frank, is that, not that they've been saving him or anything, but I mean, this is the final game of the season. This is it. And Gronk has showed up big in big games. They had that play. They ran to him over and over again with against the Rams for the game, go ahead score, the game winning score. And, I think he's in fine shape. He lumbers a little bit. Gronk always lumbers. And I don't think the Chiefs will be as aggressive blitzing and sending extra defenders. So I'm not sure that Gronk will be required to stay in and block quite as much. And that might free him up to run some of those seam routes, which, he should be able to get some pretty decent matchups on, I think, up the middle against those KC linebackers.
Yeah, and KC has struggled against tight ends this year as well. So, I mean, one of the props I gave out on F15.5 was Gronk to score a touchdown. He's like plus 250 right now. And to score the first touchdown, 18-1. I don't think it's crazy given the way that he's been used in the Super Bowl in the past. I looked at Brady's like past 3 Super Bowls, and he really, really has targeted these short to intermediate routes. You remember Edelman had a big game. James White had a big game. Gronk had some really big games with Brady in the Super Bowl. Last time they played back in week 12, Gronk was the leading receiver, 6 for 106 on 7 targets. So things have changed a little bit since then, but I think, based on his salary versus Cameron Brate, I like both of them if you're just trying to find some salary savers, but Gronk is someone for me early that's standing out here.
Okay, what are you doing with the running backs? I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to be in there. He's 7,000. Darrell Williams is discounted, but still 5,200. I just don't know. I don't know that I can viably play any of those running backs for Kansas City. It looks like Helaire will be about 17% owned, and Darrell Williams probably about oh my goodness, I'm seeing like 28% owned. Is that right? How?
Well, what's the salary on Darrell Williams?
5,200.
5.2.
I mean, he's not like a filler, but if let's say you go Mahomes as a captain and you can't pay for both Hill and I'm just trying to think if is there a chalky way how this it keeps coming up, right? Like, so Mahomes, go back and do Mahomes as your captain, add Tyreek Hill as a flex, let's take out Mike Evans and add Darrell Williams, and that leaves you 3,400. Ooh, look at this chalk monster. Look at this. This is so chalky.
Yeah.
I think the Chiefs are going to win in a shootout, and I can't afford Kelsey. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like Darrell Williams fits in and is able to get you, or like you grab Mahomes and Hill, and then you're like, all right, I got to have Brady. Gronk is cheap. Like I think Scotty Miller could be a sleeper, and then you just have just enough left for Darrell Williams. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely viable if Antonio Brown is out, because we would see Scotty Miller's targets and his usage uptick there. But it sounds like Antonio Brown's going to play. Like there was a report that came out on today when we're recording on Thursday that he's looking good and he's looking good to play. But going back to the Chiefs running back situation, like at that price, I still want to see what happens with Demarcus Robinson, who has this COVID situation still up in the air. He's tested negative every time, but he was a close contact. And with Sammy Watkins, because if either one of those are out, then I think that kind of opens up things for Mecole Hardman, who is $5,600, which is just $200 more than Darrell Williams. And it's kind of similar to the Bucs situation that we mentioned before. Like I would just rather have the pass catchers, right? Like for $200 more, I'd rather have someone like Mecole Hardman who has this explosiveness, and they've found ways to get him involved here in the postseason as well. So that's the way that I would be leaning. I just think given the matchup against the Bucs, offensive line woes for the Chiefs, Le'Veon Bell I guess still could play. We could be looking at a three-headed situation here. Darrell Williams, with all that being said, is probably the one that's most likely to score if they get down on the goal line.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. All right, so we talked about the pass catchers for Tampa Bay. We sort of run through it all. Let's kind of look at if you're picking captain, you got to pick a captain for this spot. Who are you rolling with? Is it about just Mahomes, or are you trying to take a stand with Kelsey and Tyreek Hill?
Yeah, so the way that I'm leaning now, I am looking at Kelsey and actually Brady as my captain, more so than Mahomes. Mahomes will be, again, 20 to 25%. And I do think each of Hill, Kelsey, and Tom Brady will probably be in like that 10 to 15% range in terms of their captain rate here. But yeah, I think that Brady's probably playing from behind a good amount. I don't think that they're going to, run the ball all that successfully. And if that happens, like we could just see a 300 plus 3-touchdown game from Tom Brady. So yeah.
We got multiple people in the Twitch chat saying they would go with with Mahomes as the captain too. Look, you're nothing wrong with Mahomes as the captain.
Yeah.
I mean, like I think Frank, it depends on what type of contest you're entering to. Like if you're entering an MME, like a mass multi-entry or a huge, GPP with, if you're entering that $1 million contest, I don't think you can go with Mahomes as the captain. Now, I mean, look, there's a good chance he is the winning captain, but the problem is you have to hit every single thing right. And there are going to be so many duplicates of whatever you do from no matter what, by the way, Antonio Brown upgraded to full participant with his knee. Cam Brate, limited participant with a back injury. So that bolsters our Gronk thing anymore. Although it would be quite annoying if Brate was somehow ruled out and then all the ownership roster rate flooded to Gronk. So hopefully Brate plays, but is limited. I think I'll be off Brate then entirely and go with Gronk. But yeah, I mean, I think like if you go with Brady as captain, and I don't think that's remember that, you can have a situation where, and look, Tom Brady's the 4th highest priced captain. You can have a situation where the Chiefs score 30 points. Maybe it's all Mahomes, but maybe it's like Darrell Williams. Maybe it's a Clyde Edwards, maybe it's a Tyreek Hill rush. I mean, who knows? But the Chiefs score a bunch of points. They have a 21-point lead, and the Bucs are just bombs away in the second half. And if that happens, Brady probably will end up being the guy who is in the winning lineup, as the captain in the winning lineup. Plus, he gives you a little, some diversity in terms of what you can do. You go, obviously, we're going to go Mahomes. I think we both agree you have to have the quarterbacks. We love Kelsey. And then I think that probably rules out Tyreek Hill, or would you get greedy?
I think getting all four in is pretty tough, and it's probably not something that I would be looking to do. I think at this point, I'm probably looking at like Gronk and maybe like a Ronald Jones or something like that, just for some salary saver, and then just like see how much we have left at that point.
Let's toss Gronk in there and see. So you think Brady's the best captain, or you like a Kelsey, Tyreek better? I feel like Tyreek is just going to go off again. There's just not, you can't stop him.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're playing in some kind of tournament setting where you're trying to get to the top, like it's going to be popular, but Tyreek Hill at the same time also has the most upside of any person in this game in the captain spot. Like if he goes anywhere near his 203 again, then
even if he's just $170 and $2, like that's like he has more. His ceiling is the highest of anybody.
Correct.
Yes, even as good as Travis Kelce is. So if we go Gronk there, that leaves us $9,000 left over. Are there any value guys that you're looking at in this range? Mecole Hardman at 5,600, I would guess will be pretty popular, but looking like 20+% rostered overall, which is, I mean, that's frankly a lot for his, for what he does, right?
Yeah. I think it comes down to like Robinson and Watkins, their game status, but
wait, where's Sammy?
If Sammy Watkins is actually cleared and he's good to go at 4,200, he's had a couple of weeks to rest up.
Oh man, you can do Watkins and then toss in Scotty Miller or Rojo or one. I don't think you want to play the defenses in here, but I don't know. I'm kind of intrigued a little bit by these defenses, just because I think you could end up. I mean, the Scotty Miller definitely outscore both of the Bucks and the. I don't want to play any kickers because of the weather concerns in the field. It's kind of gross.
Mm-hmm.
Is playing a defense an idiot idea? Probably.
Not entirely, because I mean, typically you want defenses the favorite in the game, going up against a team that's likely chasing points. You're going to get a lot of dropbacks, and Tom Brady has been turnover prone, right? So 12 interceptions in the regular season. That was his most since like 2012. He had 3 interceptions last week against the Packers. So I think it's chalky, like in terms of just defenses. The Chiefs will be more rostered than the Bucks, but I think there's definitely an opportunity where you can get a few sacks on Brady, a few interceptions, maybe even a pick 6, right? If he's playing from behind the whole game, it's not crazy.
Okay. I'm actually going to walk back what I just said about the kickers, because I do think there is a path where Harrison Butker ends up being a really valuable commodity here. And that would be that the Chiefs have a double-digit lead going into halftime, because Andy Reid with a lead at halftime and the under is second half under is a slam dunk, because he is going to eat clock and he is going to run. He's going to run a bunch of plays, and he's not going to be afraid to take some shorter field goals down there. So if you get like 3 Harrison Butker field goals in the second half, that gives them a 19-point cushion. They're just trying not to let the Bucs score 3 times. I don't think that's out of the question.
Yeah, no, it's look, you know more about the kicker situations and Andy Reid than I do, for sure.
So who would you, if we go with, I really like Sammy Watkins. I think he's going to play. I think he'll be fine. If we go with Watkins, who would you plug in as the next guy here?
Well, look, if Brady is good to go, do we go a little dual tight end strategy?
Yeah. I mean, he's feeding his tight ends. I like it. Netflix and Dial says, I can't see how you put Brady as your captain, then turn around and say he's turnover prone as an argument to start a defense. So here's how that works. If Tom Brady throws 2 picks, you're going to get some negative points. But those turnovers could, like we're just saying, in this Bruce Arians offense, they're going to be aggressive. They're going to push the ball down the field. Tom Brady this is not going to be the Pats offense where an interception would be shocking. I think an interception would not be surprising at all for me by Tom Brady, especially given with Tyrann Mathieu in the backfield there. And I just think that you can have Tom Brady throw 2 picks and he could still be the captain just because his volume could be so high. Like he ended up throwing 60 times in this game.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Jameis Winston effect, right? Where we would see games from Winston where he would throw like 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and he would still get there, right? So, and I wasn't saying that I want to use the Chiefs defense. But I'm saying, like, if you wanted to make an argument for using a defense, I think that would be it, right? Is that Brady's playing from behind. He has been more turnover prone. They've just thrown the ball more in general this year in that Bruce Arians offense. So I will not have much exposure to a defense in this game, but I'm saying that would be the case for one is that Brady can be turnover prone playing from behind.
Do you think that you have to have Antonio Brown out to play Scotty Miller, or is Scotty Miller viable no matter what?
At his cost, I think you probably need Antonio Brown out to play him.
Okay. Yeah. And Netflix, no, we weren't criticizing your question. If you have questions about DFS and you want to ask them, or about prop bets, I mean, you can, whatever you want. Yeah, ask whatever you want in the chat. That's what we're here for. Although
it's a good question, right? Because it might sound confusing for some people. Like, how are you telling me to use Brady and then use a defense at the same time? But again, like in the showdown slate, more often than not, like people are going to be making multiple lineups, right? So again, you just want to play out as many different scenarios in your head as possible for game flow. But I think most of them come back to Brady's throwing the ball 40 plus times here. And even if he turns it over, he can still get there based on volume.
This is a highly concentrated marketing here on this advertisement. Deliver Modelo to your door. That is in my that's in my wheelhouse as a big fan of Modelo Especial. I'm glad that like I just realized that like that Fred Anderson Toyota ad is at the bottom here, and I was like, oh my god, well, I'm glad it's not like it's like something like really, because it's like some creepy advertisement that like suggests that I've been looking up other stuff. I don't even know if I've Googled Fred Anderson Toyota on my that's where my wife gets her car service. I don't think I've looked at it on this computer. That's kind of creepy too. Anyway, okay, so who do we like this lineup? Brady, Mahomes, Kelsey, Gronk, Watkins, and then we go with Brady?
I like it. Yeah, I mean, I think some people are going to gravitate to Ronald Jones as a salary saver, but again, I just don't really see how does that fit into the game flow, right?
Yeah.
Like, what is the hope for Ronald Jones? That he gets 8 carries in this game and falls into the end zone somehow? Of all the game flows that I see playing out, the one where the Bucs are playing with a lead in the second half, where Ronald Jones really needs that to kind of hit big, that's probably the one like that I'm most least expecting.
Yeah, but now look, if you have an inkling, and by you, I don't mean you, I mean the listeners or anybody watching on Twitch or YouTube right now, if you have an inkling that the Bucs will have a lead, play those running backs. Because they are going to, if they have a 7 or 10 point lead against the Chiefs in the fourth quarter or the second half, they're going to be pounding the ball down the field, like pounding the ball aggressively. And I think they will know that they need to score to win, but I think they will feed those running backs. T Demp 87 suggests Rojo captain. We're showing. I'm looking at, and I like to use established to run for my roster rates. So I'm not going to give you the full price on it, but I pay for established to run. I can use them as I need.
That's a pretty nasty lineup right there. Nasty as in good.
Yeah. I mean,
that's how you get everyone in. But at the same time, it just goes back to like playing out the game flow. Like what is the game flow where everyone here plus Rojo goes off?
Right.
So unless Leonard Fournette gets hurt, which is definitely a possibility.
Yeah. Or unless they've been saving, like I could see a situation where, they've been saving Ronald Jones for the Super Bowl and they roll him out there as the starter and he's just pounded the ball and Leonard Fournette's coming in on third downs and everybody's shocked and he's playing Leonard Fournette. And that's, if you want to access both of the quarterbacks, the 2 top KC targets and a good, like a Gronk, or I don't even know if you can get to all the way up to Scotty Miller, but you get the point. If you want to access all those guys, you are going to have to play a captain that is much cheaper and hope that it pans out. The one concern I would have is that, to Frank's point, it's a very specific game script where Rojo wins with your captain.
Yeah, and look, speaking of Rojo and all the running backs in this game, I mean, that's the leverage on the field, right? So like just rostering any type of running backs, I think maybe outside of Fournette. Fournette's probably still going to be decent chalk, I think. But any type of Rojo, Clyde, Darrell Williams, Le'Veon Bell, which you just don't do it. That's the way that you leverage the field here.
Yeah. If it's a run, if both teams running the ball a bunch and it's an under game and you just didn't see that coming. All right. Do we think we put this in? You're in on Brady as captain, right?
I'm in, man.
Okay. I'm just gonna look. I'm not saying I'm not in. I'm just taking a peek to see what would happen.
Yeah, we don't have to lock it in yet. We've got some time.
How we differentiate this. So you go Kelsey as your captain. Also, you need to reserve your contest. Figure out how much you want to spend. Reserve your contest, and then you want to maybe fill them out the day of, because you're going to have till 6 p.m. So it's not like you're going to be crunched by noon. You're going to have some time to marinate on this, and you want to know what the deal is with Antonio Brown, what the deal is with Cameron Braid. There's, what the deal is with Sammy Watkins. Like, all those things matter, because Mecole Hardman and Demarcus we need to know, is Demarcus Robinson in? He's got this haircut situation. So Robinson, Watkins, Hardman are all key pieces for how KC is going to play. And then, of course, Brate, Brown, and then by, trickle-down effect on Scotty Miller and Chris Godwin are all key pieces for how Tampa Bay is going to play. So you really have to sort of, be patient when it comes to that. All right, so we're going to get Tom Brady in there. So that leaves us with 40. Oh, see, yeah. If we want to go Brate, we're out on Brate we'd have to go with Butker, Scotty Miller, Rojo, and I just don't think the way we're doing this lends itself to, or Tyler Johnson's an intriguing sleeper option, at least, right?
He's a great player. It's just a matter of, if Antonio Brown plays, how much does he get on the field?
Yeah. Yeah, and a rookie in the Super Bowl is kind of tough. Okay. So you have to decide, do you want to go Kelsey? And the problem with going with Kelsey or Hill, and Debo, you can take that comment off if you don't mind. The problem with going with Kelsey or Hill is that there's a very quick way to lose your lineup. Like, if you go Kelsey and Hill explodes, you're kind of toast.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can still get the Kelsey points and catch up, but you're going to have no exposure to Tyreek Hill, and that's going to probably, rip your lineup to shreds. Conversely, if you go with Brady and you have Kelsey in there, like, Hill hurts you, but you'll be able to earn points back by virtue of having Tom Brady as your cat. Like, what I'm saying? Like, you can play catch up on the field because you're getting a half a point extra over like 90% of the field for Tom Brady, getting those points. I think that made sense.
Yeah, no, I think it does. What happens if we take Watkins and Butker out and we try to throw in like Mike Evans? I'm sure it leaves the final spot for like garbage, but yeah.
600. But what about Anthony Sherman?
How about a little farewell to LaShawn McCoy?
Oh, God. I don't know if I can get there on LaShawn McCoy. The thing about Anthony Sherman is,
I mean, you need this guy to fall in the end zone.
Well, you need him to score a touchdown for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a long shot to score a touchdown, but man, they do like to use him in some of those spots to score. And I feel like RJ's just got me kind of like feeling something's going to happen with him. Do they play LaShawn McCoy at all?
I doubt it.
I mean, they just aren't going to give him any run. He's just there to catch a ring.
Yeah. Right? Sean McCoy has played 3 snaps in in the playoffs. I
mean, I would rather take a gamble on Sherman scoring a touchdown than Shady playing at all.
Let's see, how many snaps is... Oh, I don't have Anthony Sherman snaps.
Sherman's out there a lot, I feel like.
10 snaps. So more than 3 times as many as LaShawn McCoy.
He's had 10 snaps in the playoffs?
In the playoffs, yeah.
Wait. What if we...
You played 11% of the snaps last week. Are we doing this? Anthony Sherman? You've got to ask yourself, Will. Anthony Sherman and Mike Evans versus Sammy Watkins and who was the other one? Cameron Brate?
Yeah. So Sherman probably projects for like a 0 on an average basis. But let's say we get the Sherman touchdown.
Oh, then you're gold.
Yeah, but that's 6. Evans is probably projecting around like 17 points. So that's 23. I mean, like we're playing this thinking like we're unlocking Mike Evans, knowing we have to get an Anthony Sherman score. That's 23 versus Gronk and Brate. Gronk's probably like, I mean, you probably need Gronk to score in all honesty.
Yep.
So if you get a Gronk score, let's say that's 10, are you getting 13 from Brate?
A banged up Cameron Brate.
I don't think so. I think Mike Evans and Sherman have a more likely path to 23 fantasy points than, and like if Evans could get 23 himself.
especially in a single entry type context.
Yeah. And then Sherman, I mean, how owned is Sherman going to be? I mean, 1%?
What are your roster projections?
I mean, zeros across the board.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be like sub 2%.
Yeah. And yeah, man, I don't know. I kind of, oh, wait, we've got Gronk in there. Wait, who was it? Brait and who are we looking at?
We were looking at, it was Brait and Watkins versus.
Oh, Brait and Watkins.
Yeah.
So let's say Sammy what's Sammy's ceiling here? 15?
Yeah.
Absolute. Well, maybe not. I won't say ceiling is 15, but I mean,
the ceiling's probably 20.
Okay. So let's give him 13. And so then Brait has to get 10. So if, in other words, if Brait catches a touch, yeah.
Watkins, if he plays, and Brait it's the safer floor play. This is the upside. Like if Mike Evans his upside is 30 plus. Right. So we can get we can get like 8 catches for 100 and 2 touchdowns or something like that.
All right. So we got to think on that. We probably shouldn't just pedal around with these back ends. Any other sleepers that you would throw out there that you're eyeing? It feels kind of straightforward unless Rojo or Byron Pringle, unless you want to trust the defenses. I mean, that feels straightforward. I just feel like, if you want to be somebody who buys in on Mecole Hardman at 8,400, go for it. It's not going to be me. I'd rather pay 6,300 for Sammy Watkins if he's healthy. He's got a great playoff history.
You're on captain prices, by the way, Will.
I'm on captain prices. I was wondering why those were so expensive. Thank you, Frank. Yeah, so you just can't you just can't get there. Oh, man, all I want is Watkins, Mike Evans, Kelsey. Could you go Mike Evans captain? Is that crazy?
No, it is not.
And he just soaks up all the targets for them. You toss Tom Brady in there, and then you got
in a single entry. I'd probably do it like if you're MME. Yeah, sure. I'll get one of my Mike Evans lineups in there.
Yeah. So if you're doing a single entry, I mean, I think anyway. Here's the takeaway: we're not gonna finish filling out this lineup. We got time to do it because it depends. Like I don't want to have if Sammy Watkins is a full go. I'm gonna want to have Sammy Watkins in there at his price.
No, like that's what I think. Filling out the back end of your lineup is you need some kind of salary savers, and that's still dependent on the news. So you're right. On Sunday, once we find out regarding Sammy Watkins, Demarcus Robinson, and Antonio Brown, that will determine, who our value plays are. Because say Watkins and Robinson are out. Byron Pringle at 1,200 or 1,800, whatever he is.
Correct.
1,800. He's instantly in play. Byron Pringle at 1,800.
If Watkins and Demarcus Robinson are both out, I'm playing Byron Pringle in every single lineup.
Exactly.
Yeah. And if Brait is out, I don't know if I'm going to be on Gronk because everyone is going to be on Gronk.
Who's their third tight end?
It's not OJ Howard. Who's their third tight end?
It was someone who had a random big
Hudson.
Yeah, Tanner Hudson. What's his
he is $200. So shoot, Frank, if Brait is like a game time decision, he's going to test it out there and see what he can do. Tanner Hudson's not a terrible pivot either.
No, I mean, remember the name seriously because they've been running these 2 tight end sets. I brought up the numbers earlier in the postseason. Gronk 60 routes, Brait 51. Now, if Brait was out, we probably don't see Tanner Hudson run Brait's normal allotment of routes, the 15 to 20, but can we get, 8 to 12, 8 to 15 routes for Tanner Hudson? Sure. Yeah. At $200. I mean, you need him to give you 2 or 3 catches.
And if one of those is a touchdown, it's like Bitcoin to the moon level. Like
Dogcoin. Let's go.
Dogcoin. Yeah. It's Elon Musk tweeting about Dogcoin basically. All right. So we're going to, I'm going to finish up this. We are going to plug this line on it because I want to, we had Gronk. Yeah. Evans, Gronk, Sherman, Kelsey, Mahomes, and Brady. And if that first touchdown is like Anthony Sherman up the middle, it's an absolute tear your pants off and let's go party. Or as RJ White predicted earlier on the podcast, if it's the last touchdown, it's a pretty exciting situation as well. All right, we spent 40 minutes on this showdown site. Any other thoughts, Frank, before we get out of here?
No, man, I'm looking forward to it. It's the GOAT versus the baby GOAT. Very excited for this game. As a Jets fan, about as excited as you can be. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Let's go, man.
All right, let's do it. Frank, it's been a fun season. We will, I'm sure we will chat again soon, my friend. Hello to everybody who just showed up in the chat. You can rewind it. Make sure to subscribe, rate, and review. Hit subscribe button on the Twitch or the YouTube page, wherever you're on. And when we go live, you'll get an alert to your phone and you can fire it up and come join us. We will be live after the Super Bowl on Twitch and YouTube, the Pick Six Podcast, CBS Sports HQ, or the CBS Sports HQ Pick Six Podcast accounts where you're watching now. Come, game's over. Probably the second the game's over. I'm not entirely sure. Grab your favorite cocktail. We'll have ours. Come join us. We'll break down the GOAT versus the baby GOAT for Frank, for RJ, for Pete, for Kenny. I'm Will. We'll see you guys later.